What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Rhett and Evan from the Cannon Fire Podcast, back today with another video about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Today we're going to look at the quarterback, Tom Brady, TB12, his 2021 campaign. Simply put, was it good enough to win him the MVP? Here's a quick breakdown of the stats for Tom Brady. At 44 years old, he finished the 21 regular season with 5,316 passing yards, first in the league. 43 passing touchdowns, first in the league. 12 interceptions on the year, which is tied for 14th in the league. Obviously not that great, but as we've said on the podcast before, a lot of those interceptions could definitely be discounted or chalked up to just flukes. And then 90.8 passer rating from Pro Football Focus. Bruce Arians even weighed in this week with a press conference saying that, Tom Brady checks all the boxes as far as an MVP candidate is concerned.
I think if he doesn't get it, it's a travesty. I mean, most completions ever, 5,000 yards, touchdowns, the whole 9 yards. I mean, to me, it's not even a close race.
Call me a little biased. I know this is going to come as a shock, but I definitely think Tom Brady has earned the right to be the NFL MVP this season, because when you look at the MVP award, it's basically, the player who made the biggest difference for their team. And when you look at the Buccaneers offense this season, who led the league in a lot of categories, I'm pretty sure that they are a top 3 passing offense. The run offense could use some work, but believe it or not, when you have a 44-year-old quarterback who can throw 43 touchdowns a year, the offense is probably going to run through that guy, and that's exactly what happened with the Bucs this year. The work that he put in 2021, I think, should earn him the league MVP, but there's a couple of candidates who come close. Evan, what are your thoughts?
When talking about the MVP, it's basically, I think, a two-man race at this point, right? There was a little bit of Jonathan Taylor talk. There was a little bit of Cooper Kupp talk, but early on, it was a lot of Kyler Murray and stuff. But now I think it's pretty much clear that this is a two-person race between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. And that's not to say that neither guy deserves the MVP. Like, just because, only one can win it, right? So that doesn't mean that the other guy doesn't deserve it, right? If Aaron Rodgers wins it, Tom Brady had a fantastic season. If Tom Brady wins it, Aaron Rodgers had a fantastic season. They both, I think, earned it, but only one can win it. So the big thing with Aaron Rodgers is, obviously, I guess, it's confusing to me, man. Is everything else will tell you that it's Brady, but the whether it's Vegas, whether it's this or that, everybody just seems to assume it's, Aaron Rodgers, yep, he'll be the MVP. Yep, it's foregone conclusion. I don't understand that. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 37 touchdowns and 4 interceptions this season. So obviously the interceptions, he's thrown 8 less than Tom Brady. But we talked about, the interceptions that Tom Brady has thrown aren't exactly like pure, like, bad mistake. He made, that was the interception. But
there has been 5 or 6 at least.
I think, I think there's about 5.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so I mean, if those 5 aren't, his stat line looks much different. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers 37 touchdowns. Tom Brady has 43 touchdowns. That's just passing touchdowns. That's not including rushing touchdowns. I think Aaron Rodgers has 3 rushing touchdowns and Tom Brady has 2. So Tom Brady leads in touchdowns 45-40. Aaron Rodgers' passer rating, I believe, is better. Tom Brady's passer rating is 102.1 and Aaron Rodgers was 111.9. So they're a little bit better. Aaron Rodgers' completion percentage is also better. And I think here's the big thing that a lot of voters are going to look for. Tom Brady has actually thrown for 1,201 more yards than Aaron Rodgers has. Like, he's thrown for over 1,000 more yards than Aaron Rodgers has. But I think the thing that the voters are going to look at, and if Rodgers wins MVP, I think is going to be a big determining factor. Tom Brady has 888 more passing attempts than Aaron Rodgers. But, if you're looking at Aaron Rodgers, his low interception total, this and that, Tom Brady threw the ball 888 more times. There was more opportunities for defenders to intercept the football. So why are we holding the interceptions against Brady when you're also acknowledging the touchdowns for Brady as saying, he had this many more attempts? So why is that not the same for the interceptions? Why is it, he had more attempts, so naturally we'll have more picks? Same thing with the completion percentage and the passer rating. It doesn't make much sense to me. Tom Brady threw for the third most yards in a season of all time this season, past his own record when he was 34. Obviously, he threw for over 5,000 yards this season. Was, like I said, third of all time. The only people in front of him were Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. I think Brady deserves it. Rodgers had a great season. I don't know why the consensus is that Rodgers is just the guy. You could say, oh, Tom Brady struggled against the Saints. Aaron Rodgers got beat by the Saints 38-3 week 1. He threw for 133 yards, was 15 of 28, had 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, had a QBR of 15.4 and a passer rating of 36.8. But that was week 1. So nobody remembers that. I think that is completely forgotten. The people that vote on this stuff, I think that is being completely forgotten because it was so long ago. Tom Brady against the Saints, obviously not much better, but he's 26 of 48, 214 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 57.1 passer rating. That was the last time they played. The first game in New Orleans, he played pretty well, but so they both have been dominated by the Saints. So you can't really say that. I don't see why. And then you could say, well, Rodgers has more wins. They have the same record now. The Packers are 13-4, and the Bucs are 13-4. So I don't know. It's weird. It might be a little voter fatigue, and like Brady's done it so many times. But you say voter fatigue. Rodgers won the MVP last year. So how can it be voter fatigue if he's, you're going to vote the same guy who won it last year? I don't really understand it. But yeah, I think Brady's earned it.
Not a lot of people are talking about it, but voter fatigue could be one thing. But I think personal feelings getting involved in the voting process could potentially hurt Aaron Rodgers this year. Just like you said, not a lot of people are talking about it. But like, I truly think that that's an unspoken thing that definitely could apply to him. I mean, his candidness during the open part of the season, going on Pat McAfee's show every week and just kind of, letting loose. A lot of people were deeply offended by that, apparently. I mean, that one Bears writer who had an MVP vote made it clear that, quote, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to get my vote because he's a jerk and he hurt his team and all of this and all of that. Rodgers had a pretty great response to that, but I do think stuff like that is going to play a factor. It's unfortunate because with an MVP award, it shouldn't at all. The MVP award is about what you did on the football field. And a lot of people don't see it that way. So it'll be an interesting race.
If one voter is thinking about Aaron Rodgers, I have to think there's another one out there that is, right? If one voter's thinking it, they're not the only one that's thinking it. And also, I don't believe that voter's right to vote has not been revoked as far as I can tell.
Haven't heard any updates. I kind of predicted that when that story came out, I'm like, okay, before the end of the week, they're going to take this dude's credentials away. And that has not been the case. Haven't heard a peep about it since.
No, but I mean, you're talking Aaron Rodgers goes on Pat McAfee and publicly acknowledges that he knows he probably won't win MVP. He won't win another MVP because of this. I don't think enough people are talking about that. And that's why I still think the stats point to Brady. And guess what? The whole moral thing points to Brady. I don't know. It's weird. This is a strange year why I don't know why everybody just assumes that Aaron Rodgers is the guy when the stats and everything else backs up Brady, and Brady's doing this at 44 years old. What's more valuable? Can the Packers win with Jordan Love? Do the Packers win the same amount of games? No, they don't win 13 games probably. But who wins more games if both teams have their starting quarterbacks removed week 1? Do the Bucs with Blaine Gabbert or do the Packers with Jordan Love? Probably the Packers. So you're talking about most valuable player. Tom Brady has been the reason the Bucs have won a lot of football games this year. And he's the reason they have a chance in the playoffs. If he goes down, it's done. If Aaron Rodgers goes down, obviously if it's for the season, sure. But can Jordan Love step in and maybe win you a playoff game? Possibly. So I just think Tom Brady is more valuable to his team, and he's had an outstanding season. I mean, doesn't take away Rodgers' outstanding season, but I just think it's weird. I don't know why Aaron Rodgers is being assumed that he's the MVP. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
As we wrap things up, let's take a look away from the grand scheme of things and look a little bit more about what Tom Brady has done for this Buccaneers organization, because we talk a lot about the records that he has broken, what he is on pace for, what he has done in this Bucs organization in the short time that he's been here cannot be overlooked. I mean, 43 touchdowns this year, 40 touchdowns through the air last year, 83 touchdowns in 2 seasons over the air for a 44-year-old Tom Brady. The guy is already top 3 in passing touchdowns in franchise history. I think he needs a little over 40 more to catch up to Jameis Winston to secure that number 1 spot, but he's already broken just about every other quarterback record there is in Bucs history, and the level of production that he has brought to this offense and the way that he is just continuing to go out there and sling the ball at 44 years old. Like we mentioned it before, he just set a career high in passing yards. He just got the passing title for the year, but that's the most yards he has ever thrown in his entire 22-year career. Like that is quite an incredible feat. And once it's all said and done, we're going to be talking about what Tom Brady not only meant to the NFL, but meant to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a very, very long time.
And really, when you look at his stats from this year to last year, they're very similar.
Yeah.
He's thrown obviously 3 more touchdowns this year, but that was with the extra game. So he threw 3 touchdowns and no interceptions against Carolina. So if it was a 16-game season, he would have had the same exact touchdown pass to interception ratio. He threw 12 picks last year, threw 12 picks this year, got sacked 21 times last year, got sacked 22 times this year. His passer rating this year was 102.1. His passer rating last year was 102.2. It's very, his average actually was lower this year. It was 7.4 yards, I think, per attempt or pass, or it might be per completion. And last year was 7.6. Yeah, his attempts are way up from last year, but like I said, that's also factoring in an extra game as well. So yeah, it's crazy. He had a similar year, but like he's been better this year than he was last year. Like the eye test will tell you that. And last year he didn't have as many fluky interceptions. Last year, you can't really count, there might be 5 or 6 there. No, there's probably maybe 2 or 3 that are more fluky. This year, there was just a lot of fluke. I mean, we talked ad nauseum about the 2 in Dallas versus the Giants versus the Washington football team and a few others that probably shouldn't have been interceptions. But yeah, he's played fantastic, and he means so much to this organization. Aaron Rodgers means a ton to the Packers too, right? Aaron Rodgers is I think the best Packers quarterback in their history. He's better than Brett Favre, I think, by now. But I just think, Brady has earned the MVP. Both these guys have had fantastic seasons. I just think it's obvious. I think I don't know why there's much of a discussion, as Bruce Arians said.
And of course, if Tom Brady can win the elusive MVP award, he will be the first person in Buccaneers history to be the league MVP while representing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not only that being such a huge deal for the franchise, but everything else that we had just talked about as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for checking it out. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts. Who will be the 2021 NFL MVP? Is it going to be Tom Brady? Will it be Aaron Rodgers? Or do you have a little bit of a dark horse candidate, somebody like Jonathan Taylor? Or, I mean, I've seen some other people say that they're high on Joe Burrow this season. Justin Herbert sneaking in some mentions. I don't think it's likely, but let us know your thoughts down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Plenty of great Buccaneers content every single day. And of course, the podcast a few times a week as well. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Until then, and as always, go Bucs.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers from the 48-yard line. 2nd down, 13. Brady lobs one downfield. Caught ball by Gronkowski.